Our next inductee is Pancho Micir. There have been many great athletes at Bishop Egan High School, and one of the very best is Pancho Micir. In football, Pancho was named first team All-Catholic and was the MVP of the city title game in 1966. His other awards included first team All-Scholastic, Kroll Award as the outstanding scholastic football player in the Delaware Valley, Maxwell Club Award, and the Newt Rockney Award. He was also named the National Football Foundation Student Athlete of the Year and honorable mention All-American. Pancho attended the University of Pennsylvania, where he continued his accomplishments in football. He led the Ivy League in passing and total offense in 1970. He was the team's MVP and the Daily Pennsylvanian Football Player of the Year. During his coaching career in the Pennsbury School District, Pancho's teams achieved more than 20 undefeated seasons, with 13 consecutive in football. We're pleased to present you for induction into the Bucks County Sports Hall of Fame, Pancho Micir.
Good evening. This is, by my count, the 8th of these Bucks County Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. I've been to 7 of them, and they've been one of my favorite nights. I love to hear people talk about growing up in Bucks County. I like to hear them talk about their sports memories, and I like to hear them thank all the people that played such a big part in making those memories. Tonight I'm honored, privileged, humbled to be able to tell my story. Good luck on the 4-minute rule, though, Pat. And, I bought 2 from Pete and 2 from Jimmy, so maybe we'll just be close to being on schedule. But my wife says when it comes to talking sports, I could talk to a broom for half an hour. I do want to, before I look back and give thanks, give a present day thanks to the committee, all you guys, John, Pat, Sheila, past ones, Joe and Hal, Ricky, Big Tom. The work you do putting these things together is amazing, and you do it for two reasons: love of sport and love of Bucks County, and I think that's really cool. So I think you guys all deserve a round of applause from us. So. Somebody Frank McSherry told me to do that to get some applause going. Now on to my story. I was born a poor black child. That Steve Martin movie, The Jerk, is a great opening line. I love that movie. Now, I got to go back to before I was born, when the early 1900s, when my father and his parents came over from Yugoslavia, Croatia today, to this country. My dad was only 13, didn't even finish 8th grade, spoke no English, and went right to work in a steel mill in Western PA. Many times he told me that everything he knew about the country, everything he learned from the language to the people to the culture, he learned from 2 places: his job at the steel mill and his football team, the Etna Sycamores. They were one of those semi-pro teams from the 1920s and 30s. I wasn't around, but I've seen pictures of them. And, you know, every player looked like Jim Thorpe with those pancake hip pads and those helmets without face masks, the cardboard thin ones. My dad used to tell me after the game they would fold them up, put them in their pocket, use them for wallets. I don't know if he was kidding or not, but anyway, I got to thank first off my dad and his parents, my grandparents, for having the guts to come to this country just to make a better life for themselves and for their future descendants. And I got to thank the Etna Sycamores for starting the Micir family love affair with sports. Fast forward to 1953, when my mom and dad brought their young family to Bucks County, a new development, Levittown. Yeah, that's the first mention of Mom, every athlete's biggest fan, most loyal fan. Not always the most knowledgeable, though. Here's a direct quote. "Punch, I don't think you threw badly today. I just think your receivers weren't running where you were throwing the ball." Mom, I miss you. I love you. Thanks for everything. Back to Levittown in the 50s. Our street was Almond Lane in the apple tree section. Little Half Moon Street, about 20 houses, seemed like about 50 kids. As a kid in Levittown, you had 2 jobs. Do your homework and play. Once in a while we did our homework. God, did we play. We chose up fair sides. We played football, baseball, basketball, stickball, kickball, wireball, blockball, dodgeball, kill the man with a ball, and ping pong, which had a ball. So did we. So my next thank you goes out to my first ever teammates, and actually opponents, the kids of Almond Lane. Family names that you might be familiar with if you're from around Bucks County. It was the McConnells, the Coxes, the Schweikers, the Sweeneys, the Marringtons, the Litwins. Just great people. And while I'm thanking my earliest teammates, I got to thank my most important, my brother Matthew. Foo is his nickname. He turned out to be a pretty good offensive guard, just like his father was. He was all Catholic at Egan, later went on to play at Lafayette. When Foo was my teammate when we were younger, he always brought out the best in me, especially if we were underdogs. Come on, Punch, we can beat these guys. And when he was on the other team, it really brought out my best because nobody wants to lose to their little brother. So Matthew, thanks for coming tonight. Thanks for bringing all the juice, all the inspiration. You've been a big part of any athletic success I've ever had. We leave Almond Lane to go play our Little League baseball, Pop Warner football, CYO football, CYO hoops. Our coach was always somebody's dad on the team. Got to thank all those dads, Mr. Startzel, Mr. Ryder, Mr. Evans. You know, they taught us fundamentals, but boy, they taught us about love of sport and sacrifice, to do their jobs up by day and come right to practice for 2 hours, go home to reheated suppers. So I cry over that reheated supper too. So just thanks to those dads and the moms running the snack stands, ladies auxiliary, so we'd have enough for money for equipment and uniforms. From there, it was high school, Bishop Egan, where our coach was no longer somebody's dad on the team, but rather the man who, along with our own fathers, was our most important male role model in our young lives, Mr. Dick Bettison, the legend. Coach Bettison and his amazing staff. We miss Father Fidelis here tonight. He's been to, I think, every one of these but tonight. But Father, Phil Lanto, Joe DeVito, Pete Brad, they taught us under Coach's direction the real lessons of team sport: unity, sacrifice, attention to detail, preparation, mastery through repetition. Run it again, Punch. Run it again, Punch. Run it again, Punch. Think you got it? Good. Run it again, do it a little quicker this time. You know, so Coach Bettison, though, he was a phenomenon. He was unbelievable. We loved him, we respected him. I think it came from his fire, his passion, but even more, I think he had a little leprechaun in him. He was always had a bounce in his step, a gleam in his eye, and he made us laugh. Micir, you've got what coaches call deceptive speed. You're slower than you look. Thanks a lot, Coach. But I mean it. Thanks, Coach. Thanks for everything. We all owe Coach Bettison a debt that we can never repay, but that's why so many of us have tried to pay it forward by becoming coaches, teachers, and fathers. 1966 was our senior season, and it was a magical one. I tell my Pennsbury math students, do the math. 66, 50 years ago. Oh my God, what happened? How did I get so old? I got a table full of teammates back there from 66 Egan, and you know, we get together at these things. Hey, good to see you. Good to see you. You look good. We don't look good. Our eyes are all going bad at the same rate. So our eyes are going bad. We don't walk too well. Our memories are going. Where's the remote? I had the remote. Where's that remote? Oh, here it is. How come this button doesn't work? Dad, that's a cell phone you have. Our memories are gone, but the memories of Egan, 66, that senior year, it's sharp sharpen our brain, burned into our brains. Our captain, Jack Lyons, back there said before, we'll carry those memories to our graves. So you guys, always great to see individually, but even better to see as a group back there. I think Coach would be smiling looking down. If he taught us anything about team, it's that everybody matters. We're all equals. We're all equally important. And my brothers, thank you for coming tonight. We shared something really special. We always will. I left Egan to play at the University of Pennsylvania, Franklin Field, for the Fighting Quakers, oxymoronic mascot, and there was one. I got a roommate, a teammate, a fellow engineer, a fellow Croatian, a fellow Pittsburgher, a fellow it's all the same guy, Paul Vasilki, who's here tonight. Thanks for coming, Paul. After Penn, I went to work as an engineer and left Bucks County for a few years, but once again, the interconnection, sports, the magic, a Sunday morning conversation as a softball game led me to Temple's Graduate School of Education and eventually a job at Pennsbury, where I was lucky enough to teach and coach for 34 years. Trying to teach and coach as I've been taught and coached, attention to detail, mastery through repetition, and what I hope with a sense of humor. I got to thank all my kids that I coached over the years, one of whom, Matt Rader's going into the hall tonight. Congratulations, Matt. And alongside of me, during all those years of teaching, were some great educators. Some unbelievable people. Guy Stewart from Pennsbury's going in the hall tonight. Guys, Pennsbury through and through. You cut him, he bleeds orange and black. I'd be remiss, I can't mention them all, but one of my best friends, Big Frankie Micir's here. Joe Linsky, Cliff Stout, Jim Chapman. Great people, great teachers, great coaches, all of them. And I also am, we have a missing seat at our table tonight. The first man I ever coached with at Pennsbury, Joe Warren. We coached football together, and Joe's kind of a legend in Pennsbury in the Hall of Fame. He had a ticket for tonight, and he passed away suddenly yesterday. So keep Joe's family in your prayers, and Joe, anybody that knows Joe loved him, he's going to be missed. The whole time I was teaching at Pennsbury, I still was playing the role of a Levittown kid, refusing to stop playing, refusing to grow up, like one of Peter Pan's Lost Boys. I played every sport you could think of in Bucks County, from touch football, George, to basketball, softball. So many teammates to thank. I already got a shout out from Pete Semino tonight. We played softball together before that basketball league on a pretty good Stoves team, and he mentioned playing in a basketball league. Well, 114 points in a game. I guarded him one night. He didn't get a 114 off me, I'll tell you that. I held him to like 75. I fouled the crap out of him, you know. Typical of Pete, he didn't even say anything. He just kept making shots, you know. So, but so many teammates. Again, too many to mention. But I got a couple back there: Bernie McElderry, Johnny McGrath. We've played team sports together for over 45 years. And sorry if I woke you two guys. I know it's getting past your bedtime back there. But then finally, at the end of my playing days, I got my biggest thrill in sports when I got to watch my two daughters play 3 sports each up at Council Rock. One of them got to play for Pat. Both of them went on to be Division I athletes. Emily at St. Joe's, where again, connection. She played field hockey for Michelle Finnegan. Congratulations, Michelle, on your induction, and especially for putting up with Emily for 3 years. Addie went on to make her mark as a student and an athlete at Princeton, a basketball player. She played in Europe for a couple of years, and now she's coaching at Dartmouth. Not just their accomplishment, but I've always been so proud of the way they went at their games. They were such good teammates. Never once did I see a disrespect your sport, disrespect an opponent, a teammate, a coach. As for dissing your father, though, that's a whole nother story, especially when it came to what I was wearing. Living in a family with 3 ladies, getting out of the house sometime was like trying to sneak by Joan Rivers and the fashion police on the red carpet. Mom, Dad's going out, look what he's wearing. What? I thought this hat made me look spiffy. That hat makes you look like Elmer Fudd. And don't ever use the word spiffy around any of our friends. Thanks, girls, though, seriously, thanks for Thanks for being so good. Thanks for making me so proud. And I guess thanks for all the fashion tips. One last person to thank. I know Pat's looking at her watch. She's going to cue up that Academy Award music to get me off this mic. But one person, my wife Annie. Annie and I have been married for over 30 years. She wasn't around for the glory years, the glory days of high school and college, but she's heard enough stories. But she's been amazing during those years of coaching, teaching, and refusing to stop playing. What really amazed me is how uninterested and unimpressed she was by anything I could do athletically. Unimpressed by my athletic achievement and totally depressed by my achievement around the house and home repair. You heard of Mr. Fix-It? She calls me Mr. Bust-It. But Pancho, you have an engineering degree from the University of Pennsylvania. Annie, I told you, they gave me a diploma, not a toolbox. And when I say I'll fix something, I'll fix it. You don't have to remind me about it every 6 months or so. But really, Annie, thanks. Thanks for putting up with me all those years. Thanks for keeping the home fires burning. Thanks for putting up with the stupid jokes. Thanks for raising 2 wonderful kids. Thanks for all the chicken parm. And love you. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Looking back, getting ready for tonight, all the people in my life, I just realized how lucky I've been. I kind of feel like Jimmy Stewart is George Bailey, it's not Bedford Falls, it's Bucks County, but it really has been a wonderful life. It's been a wonderful sporting life. Thanks to any of you that played a role. Congratulations to my fellow inductees. Good night.